My last advanced Apollo video was deleted by YouTube after going absolutely viral. But this Apollo I/O tutorial is going to be even better. I'm going to be pulling up the curtain on my own workflow that makes my company $500,000 every single month on autopilot. Now here's some of the things we're going to be discussing during this video, and feel free to jump around, guys. I've got timestamps if any of this does not apply to you. First thing is going to be the plans. Which plan do you need that's going to be optimized for your specific use case? The second, advanced targeting. Apollo has some of the best data targeting options that exist that I've ever seen in my life. And their most recent additions to their targeting has been an absolute game changer for us. I'm going to show you the exact strategy we're using in their data to generate 90% open rates. Next, we're going to talk about sequences. How to actually set up your email sequence the way that I do it, how many days in between, how to do split tests, and most importantly, how to use AI to generate these sequences for you. Next, we're going to talk about plays and automations. This is how to get your campaigns running on autopilot, so you don't have to go in every day or every week and repopulate your sequences with new data. This will actually do it for you, and if you follow the steps that I'm about to show you, it's going to be so easy for you to set this up, forget it, and just generate leads on autopilot. Lastly, there's a lot of settings that you're going to have to manipulate in order to get the most out of your Apollo.io. All this is going to be covered during this video. Again, feel free to skip around. Now let's get right into it. My name's Lead Gen J. I run a company that does $500,000 per month in revenue, and if you want to work with me specifically, click the link down in the description. Now let's get right in, and I'm going to share my screen. All right, welcome to Apollo.io. So we're going to be discussing some of the plan options so that when you're going to sign up for this, you choose one that's going to be the right fit for you. And they've got some really affordable plans here, guys. I personally were on the enterprise plan because I like to be able to export thousands of contacts at one time. I don't like to come in here every day and click lots of buttons to get the contact data that I need. So this organization plan or enterprise plan is what you're probably going to need if you want to use all of the tools that I'm about to show you, and if you want access to basically unlimited data. If you do select one of these free or basic plans, you're going to be restricted in the number of exports that you can do every single week, every single month, and it's going to be a little bit more tedious. You're going to have to come in here every so often and add more data to your campaigns. You're going to have to do more clicking, more exporting, and you're not going to have access to some of the AI tools and some of the automation tools that I'm going to be showing you later. So here's what I recommend. If you're new and you don't have a lot of funding and you're starting a lead gen agency from scratch or trying to do B2B lead gen for yourself and you're not sure this is going to make you money yet, you should start on a basic plan just until you can get this ramped up. Now, once you do get it ramped up and this is clearly making you money, you should upgrade to a professional or an enterprise plan. And I'll tell you what, if you stick with me until the end here, I will show you exactly what we're paying for our enterprise plan. You can negotiate with them, and if you use our rate to negotiate, it might actually help you guys out. So you're going to need a higher level plan to use the tools that I'm showing you. But if you're new and you don't have a lot of money to invest in lead generation yet, you can start with a basic plan and then upgrade later. All right, here we are under the hood of my Apollo account. This is what an enterprise plan looks like with access to all of their tools. Now, I do want to mention up front that Apollo is a full CRM, as well as a sending platform, as well as a lead database. So there's a lot that you can do in here. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to be showing you how to optimally use Apollo for lead generation. Not necessarily as a CRM, but I'll show you around some of the functionalities that you can use and some of the possibilities. So if you do have a team of SDRs or BDRs or sales assistants, you can assign them each an Apollo user account so that they can manage their deals and opportunities right here in Apollo. They can manage all their conversations right here in Apollo, and they can do outbound calling right here from Apollo. You can link phone numbers. It's an insanely powerful platform. Now, again, I'm just going to be showing you how to use Apollo for lead generation, and I'll just be dabbling in some of these other CRM tools. We only use it for the lead generation tools, not as a CRM. So let's jump in. I'm going to give you a little bit of a tour around Apollo first. All right, starting from the top bar, these are the most important functionalities that Apollo has to offer. We see home. This is where you'll get a nice dashboard of all the metrics for the week, for the day. And if you've got a team here, you'll be able to visualize what your team is doing as well. Now, this sales rep cockpit that I'm in right now is what I was talking about. If you're using this as a CRM, if you've got your sales team in here, you're really able to get a good overview of what's going on today, what's going on this week, what do the stats look like. Really cool stuff if you're using this for your sales team. Now, coming over to search. This is my favorite database by far for search. Now, I'm not allowed to actually bring up anyone's contact information during this YouTube video, but I want to walk you through some of the nooks and crannies of their search function that doesn't exist in any other lead database. Apollo is the most advanced thing that I've seen by far, and I'm about to show you why. Now, a lot of this stuff that you're going to see here on the left-hand side is probably going to look familiar if you've used any other database. The ones that should not look familiar are scores. This will score leads based on how likely they are to convert for your business. This is done using AI and different metrics over time. In order to use this, you can come down here and create scores so that you can set different parameters that actually give them the score that's going to work for you. So this is going to be based on your business. I definitely recommend checking this out and seeing if you can create a score and get Apollo to actually feed you leads that meet your minimum score criteria. The next one that's going to be really unique in this search function is going to be news. So this will actually tell you, based on any of these categories, which companies, which people have been featured in the news recently. Why is this important? Because if they're getting featured in the news, that means they're successful, they're active, and you can give them a compliment for being recently seen in the news. There's a little nugget of information right there, and that's one of the techniques that we use to actually get our open rates up to 90%. So if I were to click receives award, now you can then use that information in your cold email sequence. I notice you just received an award. Congratulations. That person will say, wow, they actually did some research into our company. They know something about us. I wonder what this is all about. So any way that you can personalize your email using any of these metrics is going to be a big deal. You can also use news investment. So this is someone getting featured in the media for recently receiving an investment, which is something that you can use if you're targeting companies that just received funding. Just a couple examples here of how this news function can be used, and not a lot of other lead databases have this news function. All right, moving on to the next one that's very unique to Apollo is signals. So these are signals to Apollo that a company or a person is doing something. Some examples are award or recognition, new client signed up, which means they're onboarding new clients, new partnership, meaning the company just acquired a new partnership, office expansion, that means the company's growing, that's awesome. They're cutting costs, so maybe you have a service or a product that can help them cut costs. If they have a new product or service, so if you're a PR agency and you want to help them launch this new product or service, merger acquisition, high buying intent, recent funding, rapid growth, open 2+ emails in the past week, which means they're actually opening emails, or a new role. All of these things are really good signals that you can use to build your campaigns that are going to get you lots of results. And here's a couple ways that I'm using these. New product or service. For my PR agency, when someone launches something, they're typically going to need help getting the word out and building some authority around it. That's a really good signal for us. I also sometimes run this open 2+ emails in the past week combined with US only decision makers. And you're going to get people that are very responsive to those cold emails. All right, moving on to the next really unique function that Apollo has for searching great leads is buying intent. So Apollo actually knows what users are interested in purchasing. It does that by scraping information on what a company is searching for from an IP address. So for example, if people in my company are searching for management consulting companies, Apollo will know that Otter PR is looking for management consultants, and it'll put us in here as a low, medium, or high intent score for that search, for that intent topic. And there's a lot of different intent topics that you can choose from, and I'll come in here just to show you a few. Now, I was recently doing some lead generation work for a company that does cybersecurity. So all my intent topics are people who are looking for firewall software, antivirus software, cybersecurity consulting. But there's a lot of different topics in here that you can choose from. Hundreds, maybe even thousands. So wherever it relates to your business or your offering, you can see companies who are searching for exactly what you do or something similar, so that you automatically know that they have a need and they have a want for what you have to offer. So you're not just blasting cold emails to random strangers, you're targeting someone that actually wants what you have to offer. Okay, next I'd like to share something really cool about Apollo. You can come into email status and only search by verified emails. This will save you a lot of money on cleaning, although we still clean our emails afterwards. But this way, you don't have to just export a bunch of data, start sending to it, without knowing that it's actually going to be good data. So always search with verified emails only. Couple other cool functions in the search bar is going to be technologies. So what technologies are your leads actually using? So for example, if you are a Google Ads agency and so you help people improve their Google Ads, you can come into technologies and see what kind of ads they're running. Maybe they're doing native ads. Let's see if they're doing Google Analytics, Google Tag Manager, Google Analytics. There's a lot of different options here, Google AdSense, that you can look at to see what similar technologies are they using. Maybe they need my software product, maybe they need my service to help them with that technology. So this is in a few other lead databases, this technologies function, but it's really, really useful. So I definitely recommend testing a couple of campaigns with this technologies. Okay, next, job postings. So the way that we use this, and the theory here, is that if a company is looking for a publicist, they're hiring a publicist, then they probably also might need a PR agency. So that's what we look for. And this could be useful for recruiting agencies, whatnot. But if they're looking for someone to help them with marketing, then there's a good chance they need someone to help them with ads or content or lead generation. So figure out what companies are hiring for and then make a campaign based around that, because they probably need what you have to offer if they're looking to hire someone in that position. Not a lot of other lead generation databases have this job postings function, so definitely play with it. All right, I hope this was helpful. There's also really advanced ways here to save contacts to lists so that you can include or exclude lists on your searches so that you don't end up hitting the same person more than once. And as you can see from the top here, they've got a total of 267 million contacts to choose from. Out of those, 259 million are new to me, and I have 8 million contacts in here saved that I can access anytime I want. All right, now most people don't use this next part in the lead search, but I'm going to show you something cool. Come down to more filters at the bottom, and there's even more things that you can choose from here. So some important ones that I like to look for: time and current role. So if somebody's new to a job, that might be a good time to prospect for them. Another cool one is headcount growth. So this will show you how fast a company is growing. Founded year. So this is if you're like an ERC company and you need to target companies that were founded between X and Y number of years, you can actually do that right here. And if you're using Apollo as a CRM, you can use the engagement activity to help you actually fine-tune your CRM. All right, the next thing in this video that I'd like to show you is the Engage tab. And as soon as I hover over this, it looks really scary, right? We've got a lot of options: sequences, emails, tasks, calls, snippets, meetings, analytics, templates, settings, and mailboxes. There's a lot that Apollo can do. Now I'm going to stick to Apollo's use case as lead generation, not really CRM. So I'm going to skip over tasks, meetings, and calls. If you have your sales team in here, just know that you can hook them up with a phone number, record all their calls in Apollo, actually do outbound dialing in Apollo on autopilot, create tasks for your leads to follow up on them, book meetings right there in Apollo, create automations. It's very, very powerful. Now, for the sake of lead generation, which is what you're here for, we're going to come down to settings and mailboxes first. All right, so now we're here in settings and mailboxes, and you need to link your mailbox in order to get started with starting to put together your sequences. Obviously, you can't send emails if you don't have any of these sender accounts linked. So we're going to link your mailbox. I'm not going to show you exactly how to do this because the process is exactly the same as my former videos, but I recommend using Office 365 or Gmail. And Office 365 is actually preferred for me nowadays, so I definitely recommend using that. Please watch my other video on how to set up Office 365 sender accounts using GoDaddy for only $2 per month. This will help you a lot. The link process is very easy. You just need to put your email and password and go ahead and link that. Now, in terms of settings, and this is very cool because Apollo just launched a mailbox warm-up in beta, so you don't have to warm up your emails anywhere else. You can actually do it right here. And Apollo is so cool because they're always coming out with new fun updates. This is just one of them. I actually discovered this today. So I would set your daily maximum of warm-up emails to 50, your daily warm-up goal to 5, and your daily ramp-up increments to 2. These will be good settings to actually ramp up your emails. You can also set a default signature here, so you don't have to do it in every email. I definitely recommend doing that. And remember, another nugget of information for you: to avoid getting in trouble with the Can Spam Act, make sure that you have an address listed on all of your emails, and make sure you have a way to unsubscribe on all of your emails. Another nugget of information: if you do set up warming, you're going to start to see your inbox get flooded with all of these fake warm-up emails that are going to be good for your inbox health. They give you a unique token here, so you'll create a filter in your mailbox to look for this token string and then mark as read, mark as important, never send to spam, and then you can move it to a warm-up folder. All right, now some things I'll just touch on in settings and mailboxes. Voice, this is where you can set up a phone number. Schedules, if you want to send during specific times of the day. Sequence rule sets, you can set some of these rules for your sequences here. This is pretty advanced. I don't need to go into all of this if you're not using it as a CRM. Integration, so if you are using it as a CRM, this is where you'll actually come to integrate all of your different tools. And priority settings. This is one that I actually do recommend that you set. I would say prioritize by sequence with the highest interested rate. And then you can come and add all of your sequences to actually prioritize the ones that matter the most, the ones that are getting the highest interacted rate. All right, so now we're in sequences. I'm going to skip over emails, calls, tasks, templates, analytics, snippets, meetings, because most of these are just for CRM. Obviously, emails will track my outbound emails. So if you want to see what it looks like, see what's set up to be sent, this is where you're going to need to go. This is actually really helpful because you can see if your snippets are working, if your variables are working. So I definitely recommend coming in here after you set up your sequences so that you can just make sure everything looks okay. Calls, we're not going to go into because frankly, we're not using calls right now. Tasks, I don't particularly use tasks, but if you're somebody that is doing a lot of manual work inside of Apollo, tasks might be good. For example, after you email somebody, create a task to go connect with them on LinkedIn. You'll have a list of tasks and you have to go through them manually to actually do. I hate this personally, but some people might like it, so good luck. Feel free to set up some tasks. Templates, these are good, and you can set these up right from sequences, but this is just so that you can copy and paste stuff into sequences that you use a lot. So definitely create some templates, and I'll go over some templates that you can use as well. Analytics, this will give you an overview of some of your campaigns and what they look like. You can filter by different variations like email engagement performance, call engagement performance. You can build your own dashboard. It's very, very cool. Snippets is good if you're using it as a CRM. This is like fast ways to send a response. Obviously, we're not using it as a CRM for the purpose of this video. Just like meetings, we're going to skip over these things, but definitely come and play with it. It's got the potential to be used as an all-in-one. All right, so one of the most important things we'll be talking about in this video is creating a sequence. So I'm going to go click on new sequence here in the top right-hand corner. Now you can do a couple different things here. Pre-formatted, this is where they help you with some of their pre-formatted templates. If you're new to cold email, you can use a pre-formatted template and just edit it. I always start from scratch because I'm advanced, I know what I'm doing, so I'm going to go ahead and do this now. Now, once I set up the sequence, I'm making this one private so it doesn't bother my team. You can set up your schedule, and I recommend doing this each time. Each schedule is going to be a little bit different based on who you're targeting, the industry. I definitely recommend looking when those industry professionals are most active. You can do that using ChatGPT or some Google research. Sequence rule sets. So we talked about rule sets just a minute ago. So if you want to use any of these rule sets and apply them, you can. You can also create a rule set by campaign, which is typically what I do. You can tag it. So if you got a lot of campaigns, you can find them quickly. I'm going to go ahead and create, and let's go into what this campaign builder looks like. All right. One of the coolest things about Apollo and the recent updates is their implementation of AI, and it's usable. It's actually usable. We do actually use it. Now, I will say with a caveat, I don't trust AI generated cold emails to convert. I always write my own, but it's a good place to start, especially if you're new. So we're going to add our first step. All right, now here we can pick our first step. So the first one that we use, and this is the only one that I pretty much use for Apollo, is automatic email. All these other things are tasks. They might look interesting, but all it does is it'll create a task for you to do something manually. None of this stuff is worth using or testing, in my opinion. If you're going to do something manually multiple times, you should find a way to automate it, especially if you don't even know that person is interested yet. For LinkedIn, I definitely recommend using the LinkedIn tool from my LinkedIn video, so please check that out when you're done watching this. So let's start with automatic email. This is going to be your go-to every time. So next it'll ask you when to start the step, either immediately or with a slight delay. I actually like a slight delay. It gives me some space to change something last second if I ever want to. And do I want to limit the number of emails sent from this step per 24 hours? No. So I'm going to go ahead and continue and do that first step. All right, we are now in Apollo's email builder, and they've integrated AI really nicely into this. So if you're somebody who needs help writing cold email, this is definitely something worth trying. So on the right-hand side here is the AI assistant. You will tell it which email you're writing, whether it's an initial outreach, which is outreach, a follow-up, so a second or third email, or a last pitch, a final attempt at getting that person's attention and getting them to reply. As a first email, it's going to be outreach, and you're going to go ahead and put in information about your company, fill it. The more information that you feed this AI, the better that email is going to come out. I'm going to go ahead and feed this AI information about my company and then see what it spits out. All right, I was very simple in my language. Company, Otter Leads, what we offer. We book qualified B2B leads on your calendar on autopilot. Pain point. You don't have to worry about generating interested leads anymore. Value prop. We will book your calendar full of leads or you don't pay. Call to action, book a meeting. Let's see what it spits out. All right, the AI is all done, and we've got subject lines that we can use, and we've got bodies that we can use. And these are actually pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and insert subject line and body 1. Now, this video isn't going to be a tutorial on how to write great cold emails. For that, I have other videos, but this is going to show you how to use Apollo and all of its functionalities well. So the AI does its job. It does a very nice job. And one exciting thing that I'm looking forward to is if you come down here to personalize email with AI, you'll be able to add personalized openers very soon. Now, a couple of other options on the screen that you should know about are the variables. So you can add variables by clicking on this Add Dynamic Variables button down on the bottom left. And you can add in a lot of variables that other platforms don't let you. For example, now time of day. You could say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening on autopilot. That's one that we use quite often because most cold emailers don't do that. All these other data points are pulled straight from Apollo, and you can also go to custom and make your own custom fields, or you can come into advanced and do if-ands. This is very advanced stuff that you're going to need to play with, and it's going to take probably too much time to explain, but definitely something that's worth looking into. For example, now month -1. So If it's November, you can -1 and say September. There's a lot of really advanced stuff that you can do in here that you can't really do in other platforms. You can save any email as a template here. That's why I don't really go into that templates tab. I just use this. And then to load templates, you'll just hover over this load templates button and add any templates that you want to that cold email. Now here in the bottom left, include signature is checked. So you're going to make sure that your signature is not included in this cold email because it's going to be added at the end. Now, another thing you're going to want to be careful of is this button, reply to previous thread. In the first email, there is no previous thread, so this obviously gets left unchecked. Now I just closed out that AI button and it generated a preview for me. And you can select a contact to actually generate a preview for that specific contact to make sure that your variables actually work and look okay. And I'm going to save. Now, if you've watched any of my previous videos, you'll know I'm a big fan of split testing. So that's something that I definitely recommend that you also do in Apollo. So you can add an A/B test here, or you can come into more actions on the right-hand side and clone. And that will clone that into an A/B test so that you can just edit, say, the subject line or edit one variation in that first line. Okay, so that's on step 1. Step 2, you're going to add a step by clicking that blue button. Again, automatic email. When do you want this one to be sent? I recommend 3 days after the previous step. You can do 2 days if you'd like, or even 1 day if you really want to get aggressive. Now for this one, I'm going to open up that AI assistant again, generate email. Now instead of outreach, we're going to do follow-up and hit generate. Now, important note here, this one we are going to reply to previous thread. So the subject lines are going to be taken out and these bodies are formulated for a follow-up. So let's go ahead and put body 1 in there. We are not going to include signature because it's a follow-up email in the same thread. And this actually looks pretty good. So we'll leave this again. We're not talking about writing cold email templates here. Signature is unclicked. So I've got sender first name here. Awesome. Reply to previous thread is clicked. Awesome. Let's go to preview. And we can close out this AI assistant now, so it'll show us the preview here. Looks good, variables look clean, it is working. We're gonna hit save. All right, finally, let's add one last step because I like to do at least 3 emails in a sequence. I go up to 7 sometimes, but I do at least 3. Automatic email, this time we're gonna wait 5 days and we're gonna open up that AI assistant, generate email, last pitch. It's already got my information saved, so let's go ahead and generate that email. This one I'm not going to do in the exact same thread as the previous email because they already saw that thread, they didn't reply to it. Let's try a new thread. Let's try a new subject line. Last chance for leads. I'll go ahead and hit body 1. Now again, I'm not focusing too much here on writing the cold email. I'm focusing on the functionality of Apollo. So in this one, I use the last chance AI template. I am going to include my signature. I am going to not click reply to previous thread. And you see how it did one variation without spacing, one variation with spacing? You can also regenerate the AI using this refresh button and adding a new body to your email. All right, so let's go ahead and click save. Now we've got a 3-series sequence that is ready to go. And once your email is attached to it, you can go ahead and flip this on to active and get it sending immediately. Now, even if I made this active right now, it would not start sending because this campaign does not have any contacts in it. There's not a single person to send emails to. So let's come into contacts and figure out how to actually get people into this campaign. Let's hover over add contacts and it can automate adding contacts using a play. That's what I'm about to show you in a second. This is unbelievable and no other platform can do this. You can select a list from Apollo or you can upload a CSV file. Now, the final thing I'd like to touch on before we move on to automation and plays is the settings in the campaign. So you can edit every single setting by campaign, or you can do it in the general settings. But let's show you some of the things that you can do here. So this is pretty cool if you use it as a CRM, create a phone call task if an active contact opens an email at least X amount of times. So this is really cool if you've got your salespeople in here and somebody's interested but not replying, you can create a task to go call that person. You can mark a contact as finished in the sequence when they click on an email. Sometimes they might click and book a call and then get your follow-up sequences, which isn't really what you want. And then you can mark them as unresponsive if they don't reply within X amount of days after the last step. So here is very cool. You can edit all of the settings by campaign. You can CC emails for replies. A lot of really advanced stuff that you can't do on other platforms. All right, so now we're back at the home page and I'm going to show you something unbelievable that's going to be insanely valuable for Apollo users. And if you're not already using Apollo, this is going to blow your mind. It's going to disrupt all of your current workflows, I guarantee it. And that is this plays functionality. This is something Apollo added in 2023, and it is an absolute game changer for us lead generation agencies as well as any B2B company who uses cold email, because now you no longer have to go in and add contacts every so often. This will do it for you. Every day it will perform a new search so you're getting clean data, and if you're using any of the signals like news or signals that I mentioned in the search function, it will only pull in fresh signals and fresh news. So there's a lot of play templates that you can look through and choose from here by clicking templates. But I'll be honest, I don't use any of these. The way that I use plays is to keep my campaigns populated with fresh data every single day on autopilot. But there are a lot of really cool things that you can do here. For example, call when email is clicked or opened, hit companies that are scaling, hit form abandoners. There's a lot of interesting things that Apollo lets you do, but I'm gonna go ahead and create one from scratch. All right, so now I'm in the play details and I'm creating this play. I'm gonna name the play test and come down to configuration. So on a specific date, schedule is what you're gonna wanna select to use this the way that I use it, which is to keep your campaigns constantly populated with data. You're gonna run every 1 day, end never. You're gonna limit the number of people processed to, say, 50 per campaign. If eligible, how often should the same person be added? Only once. And then filters. So this is going to be just like the lead filters. So it's going to give you every single option. So where this is so powerful is you're going to set the exact filters that you want, essentially like a saved search. So if you're only looking for CEOs in the US that were featured in the news recently, you'll set that filter here. Make sure to come to email status and click verified. You don't want guest emails automatically going into your campaign before you clean them. This needs to be verified. Once you've got your filters set, you will save filters. And then down here in actions, what should actually happen every single day for 50 users? I don't do create alert because I don't do anything manually. What we do is automate these actions. So we're going to click on that drop down and we're going to add contacts to sequence. And this way we can select the sequence that we want people to be added to. I'm going to pick this one just as an example and send email from. Which email do you actually want to deliver this email from? If you're using it as a CRM, contact owner or account owner could work. I usually do specific user or round robin or rotate mailbox. Doesn't really matter where it comes from as long as all of them are going to the same place. So you can rotate mailboxes, direct only. All right, so what did I just set up? Every single day, 50 contacts are going to be added to this sequence. It's going to rotate through all of my mailboxes to send emails to those people. And this is going to happen on autopilot every single day. It is going to use your email credits, but you're never going to have to come in and repopulate with data. You can let this run on autopilot and it will never stop. Now you can also add a step if you like automation. There's other things that you can do. For example, add to a list. So if you want to pull a full list of plays, and then so when you're filtering in the search function, you don't hit the people that have already been added. You can add these people to a list. That way you can exclude that list when you're filtering again. Now let's go ahead and save changes, and you can set that play to active here and it will start feeding it into your sequence on autopilot. And the last thing that I promised to go over with you was some of the settings within Apollo. So when I click that gear icon in the top right, it's going to come up with all of these crazy options that I have within Apollo. So I'm going to go over just the important ones here. Once I click the settings icon, I can quickly view my mailboxes. If you're using it as a phone, you can view voice. And then all this stuff on the left is pretty important as well. So you can manage your team, manage your users. This is going to be if you have multiple people in your system operating. Make sure that you have all this stuff set up. So one of the first things that I recommend you do is set up personas. So Apollo has an AI tool. On the left under configurations, you'll come to personas, and then it'll guide you through streamlining prospecting with personas. You'll hit confirm once it understands you and your business, and then it will create personas that might be a good target for you. So I'm going to go ahead and confirm personas here. Now the next thing you're going to need to set up here in the settings is tracking subdomains. So this one's old that I have in here and it's unhealthy, but you're going to want to click a subdomain up here, follow the instructions and set up a tracking domain. You can do this in your DNS records. It's going to be very easy to do. And they do have a support article that guides you through how to set up these tracking domains. And if you've watched my other videos, I've gone over this as well. This is going to be very important for deliverability. So before you start your campaigns, make sure that you set up this tracking subdomain. So integrations, if you are using this as a CRM, you can integrate Zoom, Google Meet, any higher level CRMs, Slack, whatever you really need. I don't do any of this personally other than Zapier, which I do have some automation set up. Be sure to join my course and community. If you want access to those automations, they are free. Lastly, one interesting thing about Apollo is that when you search for data and you basically export that data, it will not send it. It will not download it automatically. It will send it here. System activity, imports, and exports. So these are all of my recent exports. Under here, CSV exports, this is where the data actually goes. So you can download it from here. Now, you need to know where this is or you're going to get very confused. One thing that I definitely recommend that you set up before you start exporting data, and this is if you're using it to export data. We mostly use Apollo to get the data out, clean it, and then import it into Instantly. But you can use Apollo to never do CSV exports at all. You can just keep everything right in here with the instructions that I've just given you. But if you are using this to export like we do, you're going to come into CSV export settings, and I typically only export contacts. So I'm going to edit settings, and by default, default, it's going to have a lot of stuff selected that you really don't need, which is going to make the files really big, long, hard to work with. So go through these and check only the ones that you need. So for example, if you use technologies and you need to export that information, you can check that, but we don't typically need that. We don't need their funding info. We don't need their intent score or their Apollo ID. So come in here and edit these settings to make them friendly for you to actually work with that data. Now, if you want to see the video that I did on Apollo that actually got banned, please go to my free course and community. It's absolutely free. You can join using the link below to see that video for any topics or subjects that I may have missed in this one. But this one, I hope, gave you all the tools that you need to go start booking leads for your company or for your clients on autopilot. And if you got a ton of value, please like and subscribe. And if you want to join my course and community, click on the link down in the description. I'll see you in the next video.